in this video, I'm going to show you how to optimize images in WordPress. And we're going to use this website here. It's a starter site that I use for clients. It has not been optimized, so I've already run it through PageSpeed Insights. If you haven't watched my video on using PageSpeed Insights, you can go back and watch that, but you would go to pagespeed.web.dev, paste the URL for your website in there, and then analyze it. And we can see that the performance for this website right now is 77, which honestly is not horrible. And if I look at the desktop, you can see it's 96. This is a completely unoptimized site. I'm using a really optimized theme for the website, and the big thing that's not optimized is the images. So that's why I wanted to show you how to do that with this particular site. But we can see here that a couple of the opportunities that PageSpeed Insights gives me are having to do with my images. So I'm going to fix that. So let me go back into my website. And again, it's a WordPress website. So I'm going to go into the dashboard. I'm already logged in to the site. So you would go into your WordPress dashboard and you're going to go to the plugins and then choose Add New. And there are several image optimization plugins out there. My personal favorite is Imagify, which is Imagify. I think that's how you say it. That's how I say it. And so we can see here, this is Imagify. It's got over 800,000 active installations, pretty good ratings. You can see that there are other image optimization plugins out there. There's Short Pixel, lots of other ones, but we're going to use Imagify. So I'm going to click on Install Now. And that's going to take a second to install. It's copying the files to my website, and then I need to activate it. And again, it takes a second to activate it, turn everything on. And once I do that, I'm going to get a message at the top of my page that says, create an account, enter your API key, and configure it. You can use Imagify for free. You get 20 megabytes, I think, of the optimization per month if you use the free account. Let me go to the website, imagify.io, so you can see this, but it's imagify.io. We can see the pricing. It's free is 20 megabytes a month. You can pay $4.99 a month for 500 megabytes per month, which is probably what most basic websites are going to do. I have one client that they process a lot of images. So for something like that, you would want to get the unlimited. The alternative to this is optimizing your images one by one before you upload them. What Imagify does is optimize the images as you upload them. So as they're getting uploaded to the website, it's going to do all of the optimization that you set up. So I already have an API key. This is a throwaway API key, so don't try to use it because it won't work. So I'm going to paste that in there. It's valid for right now. And now I need to go to my settings. And the API key that I'm using, it is a unlimited API key. So again, it's a throwaway. I'm going to delete it right after we're done with this video. So we can see here that I'm going to go through the settings very quickly. You want to auto optimize images on upload. So this way it'll automatically optimize the images when you upload them to WordPress. If you want to, you can turn on, and this is the default, to back up the original images. So it'll keep the images up there. So if you ever need to re-optimize or revert back because the optimization wasn't great, then you can do that. Another option that we have is lossless compression. So by default, it uses smart compression. So you're going to get good compression. It's still going to look pretty good, but sometimes the quality isn't as good. So if you're a photographer, you can see here, if you're a photographer, then you want to turn that on and you're going to get the lossless compression. Now, another thing that I usually turn on, and if we actually go back to my PageSpeed Insights, you can see that it's telling me to serve my images in next-gen formats. So it's saying use image formats like WebP, and we can see Imagify has the option to do that. It does it. It's on by default, but it doesn't display the images in WebP format unless you check this box. And then you do need to either use rewrite rules or use the picture tags. And that's usually what I use. If you are using CDN, which you should know if your hosting is using CDN, you'll just need to paste the URL for the CDN in there. Another option is to resize larger images. A lot of times people upload images directly from stock photography sites, and they're massive. They're like 6,000 pixels wide, which is way bigger than you need on a website, unless people are downloading the images and printing them out, but most likely they're not. I mean, they could be, but anyway, the default 2560 is plenty big. I'm on a display right now. My screen that I'm using is like literally 2 feet wide, and 2560 is plenty wide for that. So, and then by default, it optimizes. So depending on what theme and what plugins you're using, you might have different image sizes that need to be optimized. So you can see that I've got several different image sizes. This is all based on the theme that I'm using. So each image is actually several different images. So it's got different sizes that it's going to be resized to as you upload it. And Imagify is going to optimize each of those images. So technically, I'm not going to count right now, but just assume that each image that you upload has 5 alternative sizes. So that's 6 images that need to be optimized. And so the file size that you have to worry about, that 20 megabytes if you're using free, or 500 megabytes if you're using the $4.99 account, you've got to account for 5 or 6 images per image that you upload. So just keep that in mind. So if you want display options, this will turn on this Imagify menu up there. So you can turn it off or on. I leave it on. And then I'm just going to click on save and go to bulk optimizer. And this will give me a second here. I've got some errors. That's okay, because I think that was when I was playing around with this before. And I'm going to click on Imagify. I'm not sure. And then click on start the optimization. Now it can take a few minutes. It depends on how many images you have. If you've got hundreds, and I have one client that had thousands of images that had never been optimized, it can take a very long time. And it does use resources on your website when you're doing this. So just be aware that it could slow down your website depending on your hosting provider, and your host might actually block bulk optimizing. So if you've got a lot of images, check with your hosting provider before you go through and optimize all of those images. And so you can see it went through, it's optimized one media file so far. And just that one media file, it optimized it from 1 megabyte to 816.5K. And it says I used all my credits. So hold on one second. Let me fix that real quick. All right, I fixed it. Sorry about that. I accidentally had my quota set to 1 megabyte, which isn't going to give all of these images very much optimization. So let me go ahead and try imagifying them all again. And this should go through and optimize all of my images now. And so I've got, I think, 25 images or so. Let me open up my library in a new tab while it's doing that. We'll come back to this tab in just a minute. All right, so while that is optimizing in the background, we can see here that, and this is the one that it did optimize, and you can see that it gave it a 30% savings. And you can re-optimize with lossless compression. So if you look at it, it doesn't look great, then you can re-optimize it. You can also generate the WebP versions, which it actually should have already done. I'll have to double check that. And then if you decide you didn't like the optimized version of it, you really want to go back to the original, you can click on Restore Original. So let me go back here to my bulk optimization. It's going to take a little while to imagify them all. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to take a little while. So once I optimize everything, I'm going to check the page speed insights again and take a look and see if I got any improvement in my performance. So I'm going to pause the video and I will come back. All right, I am back and all of these images are optimized. So if I was to go in and refresh my media library, I should see I've got lots of images, and we've got things that are optimized 50%. Things like this where you get a negative number, they were probably already optimized before I uploaded them. And usually when I name something with OPT, that means I optimized it in Photoshop or some other image editing tool. So some of these were already optimized before I uploaded them. So we've got a few that were negative because they were optimized better than Imagify can do, but like you've got like 71%. So, all right. So I'm going to go back and look at my page speed insights again. So let me scroll up here, and this may not make it a huge difference. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, because I'm not sure which of the images from this library are actually being used within the home page. And by the way, page speed insights only checks that page. So if I wanted to check the blog or some other page on that website, I would have to put the URL for the page that I want to check. So I'm going to click on Analyze, and let's see what I get. All right, takes a minute here. All right, so we can see here it did jump up to 80, so not a huge jump in the performance, but there are other things that I can do in the image optimization. But you can see here, one of the things that it still needs is properly sizing the images. And that's something that, depending on the theme, you may not be able to do too much with, but you can see now that it's using the WebP version of the images instead of the JPEG or PNG. So in some cases, it's still using the JPEG. So I'll have to look further into why it's using the JPEG. It could be because of the theme, and I think that's the case for this particular one. What I would probably do is switch over to the WebP version of the image when I inserted that background. I think that's for the background on one of those. So there we go. So well, and it's telling me, yeah, so you can see for some of them, it's still loading them as JPEGs. So I'd have to do a little bit more troubleshooting to figure out why it's doing that and address it from there. But you can see that it did increase the performance a little bit. If I go to desktop, it was already at 96. So it's not going to give me a huge jump there. But again, it does help to optimize the images, especially if you've got lots of images. Optimizing them using a plugin like Imagify can really help save on the file size, and which can improve the performance of your website. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.